Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by freshman from the Minnesota women's hockey team, Sadie Lindsay. Sadie, welcome to the podcast, and how's everything going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, it's hard to believe that the first half and the first semester of your freshman year is complete. So I guess what have you taken away from that whole experience? And I guess how would you evaluate the first half of the season from your team's perspective?
From my team's perspective, the first half of the season has been really good. I think we're really setting ourselves up for success for the second half of the season. But the transition, into my first half of college has been great so far. And yeah, I'm really loving it.
Now, you're unfortunately dealing with an injury right now. So my question is, how is the recovery process going for that? And when do you think you're going to be ready to play games again?
Yeah, I got surgery December 1st. So I'm not able to play games or full contact anything until about May. So it's a 5-month recovery. So unfortunately, I'm out for the season. But yeah, I'm just excited to be getting better and just be getting healed. So
Yeah, is it disappointing not to play any games for the rest of the year? And I guess what's your mindset, I guess, going through, the rest of the season knowing that you won't be playing?
yeah, it's definitely disappointing. I think no one goes into their freshman year expecting an injury right off the bat. I've never been seriously injured before or had to sit out of hockey for any period of time. So this is kind of new territory for me. But I think my mindset is just focus on the things I can control and the things I can actually do for myself and for my team. And I think that just looks like showing up every day and just being a positive atmosphere and just helping with that. And yeah, just having positive attitude and trying to control the controllables.
Oh, yeah, I think that's good advice, not just for dealing with injuries, but just for what the times we're living in, I guess, right now, because you never know what's going to happen. I think things have become just more unpredictable. So I think just controlling what you can control is kind of the best thing that you can do for anything, not just for injuries, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Now, what's it been like, I guess, playing in the WCHA conference from the time that you've played in it so far? And just talk about the competition you face every night, just because it's arguably the best conference in college hockey.
Yeah, the WCHA is very competitive. I think that would probably be my biggest transition into college is just how competitive it really is. And it's been really great to just see the talent that's out there and just keep striving to become better. And yeah, I mean, the WCHA is awesome. It's really competitive. We face really competitive opponents every weekend. There's never an off weekend. You always have to be on your A game. So it's been really good.
And what was that kind of the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey, just playing in that conference, or was it kind of the speed of the game or the decision making, since you have to make quicker decisions with the puck mentally as well?
Yeah, I think probably decision making has to be a lot quicker. I would also say physicality. There's a lot just more physical play in college. So you kind of just have to adjust your game a little bit just to make your decisions a little bit quicker and just be more physical and win your battles in college.
And when you talk about physicality, is that kind of just like more use of the body, or is it kind of like just more board battles, I guess, just because there's obviously no body checking in women's hockey. So I'm just curious about what the physical aspect is like from your perspective.
Yeah, I would say probably board battles are really big. I think that board battles determine a lot about how the game ends up going, and the team that wins the most battles along the boards can oftentimes score the most goals in the game. So I would say that's definitely a big key aspect to college hockey for women's, at least, is just the physicality along those sides of the ice.
Now, do you think body checking, I guess, should be allowed in women's hockey from your perspective after playing college hockey?
Um, I mean, I'd say the men's and women's sides of the game are very different. I compare it a lot to men's and women's lacrosse. And I think style of play is very different with the different body checking rules. I don't really know my stance on that, but I would say the women's game is very physical in its own way. So it's hard to compare the two with physicality. But yeah, I mean, especially at college hockey, it's definitely more physical for girls.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I think it might be allowed or should be allowed, and I've said this on the podcast before, is just regarding the refereeing of the game, just because I feel like some referees a little more strict when it comes to what's a body check and what's not a body check, and some referees aren't as strict about it. And in my opinion, I feel like refereeing should be kind of even across the board and across different conferences. So I think that's the only reason why I think it should be allowed, is from that standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think just as far as referees goes, it's hard because you really never know like the style of referee you're going to get in a game. Some are really strict with calls and some just let everything go. So you kind of just have to adjust how you play and react, I guess, to that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any rule changes in the future, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think if there would be, it would be like start off with like younger players, just because they have to learn how to body check and then take a check, and then ultimately develop those players into when they go into high school and college and then in professional. So it wouldn't like start like immediately like in college hockey. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be an interesting concept to kind of think about for the future.
Yeah, no, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that does happen. I think it's definitely being talked about, though, from just hearing other players speak.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really heard a lot about that, but I'd say that would be my take on it. It's just pretty different games with physicality. So,
Now, obviously, since you've been kind of had to adjust your game a little bit to college hockey, what's been the biggest improvement you've made to your game so far this year?
um, I would say the biggest improvement to my game so far this year has actually been mental. I think that my mental consistency has gotten a lot better, which is something I wanted to improve going into college, is just being able to day by day just keep improving my game. And I think injuries helped me a lot with that, of just having a lot of uncertainty this year and just having to kind of show up and do my best every day and just keep trying to improving regardless of what may or may not happen with my injury. And I would say, yeah, the mental part of my game has really improved a lot this year. And I think that's helped me to improve other parts of my game as well. Just be able to compete every day has been really big for me. So,
Yeah, no, I think confidence is a big part of hockey, and that's kind of ties into the mental side of the game. Just because, if you have, for me personally, when I play with confidence, I feel like I'm a better player. Just because I have more energy, I feel like I'm more confident to, make a better play than I would be when I'm not confident. And I feel like it's so easy to lose confidence, but it's so hard to gain confidence. Yet confidence is a huge factor into hockey, in my opinion. So I think that's an important thing to work on, is just trying to maintain that good confidence throughout the season, just because there's so many roller coasters. And like you said, it's so unpredictable what could happen.
yeah, I definitely agree. Confidence is a really key part of anyone's game. I think that confidence is hard to teach and hard to learn, but I think once you learn it for yourself, it's really a game changer. And yeah, I mean, I think confidence wise, it's definitely hard as a freshman coming into college hockey, and you kind of have to learn for yourself what that looks like. Um, but I think for myself, what really helps me with my confidence is just telling myself, like, you're finally at the place that you wanted to be at your whole life, that you've worked for. Like, you're finally playing college hockey. So now is the time to be confident and just know that you've worked really hard for this, and just, I don't know, keep carrying that into my game a little bit.
Now you got your first collegiate points against RIT. I wanted to ask you about what it was like getting those two assists and what it meant to yourself.
Yeah, that was a really fun game. I think RT, I was finally reaching a point where I felt really confident, and it was really fun to play and just get a couple points. And that was actually the game I got injured in. So I got a few points right before I got injured. So that meant a lot to me, just to be able to end my season on a positive note for my freshman year. So
Yeah, no, that's got to be a weird game because you're so happy you got those points, but unfortunately it ended off in a not so great way.
yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster. Yeah, I was definitely shocked for a good week after that game, but I've kind of, I don't know, processed all of it now. So looking back, it was a good experience. I'm really happy I got to be a part of that game and, yeah, get a few points.
Now, another big thing that happened when you played with the Gophers for your freshman year is you swept Colgate, who's a ranked opponent. So I got to ask, how important was those non-conference wins for your team heading into the first as the first half of the season went on?
Yeah, I think non-conference wins and especially sweeps are just so important for end of season rankings and standings. So Colgate was a really big weekend. They're obviously a very competitive team and just a really good opponent for us. I think they play really physical and they're just have a really high compete level. So I think that those two wins for us that weekend was just really big for us. And I think it was a really key weekend in the first half of our season of just setting us up for more success in the weekends to follow in the WCHA. So yeah, that was a really fun weekend for us to come with a sweep off of a road trip.
Now, talk about your freshman class and how have you guys gotten to know each other throughout this season? Just because you guys, I don't think, had the chance to kind of meet each other before, just because of the pandemic. So, how has that
Yeah.
process been like? And just talk about some of your freshman teammates.
Yeah, our freshman class is awesome. We have just a really tight-knit class. And I think all of us except for Ella Huber are from Minnesota. So we are all very much a tight-knit group. I knew all of them before coming into college. Ella Huber was my roommate at USA Camp, so we got to meet that way. And she's my roommate now. Um, so yeah, we have just a really tight-knit class, and it's been really great just having those girls around because they're just so supportive, and we can all really just help each other and build off each other in the day-to-day basis. So
And is it nice to be some of their teammates, not playing against them like in high school?
yeah, it was definitely weird in high school when we were all committed to play for the Gophers because we played each other with our own respective teams and we knew each other and stuff. But it's definitely more fun being teammates than playing against each other, I would say. So we're all really excited that we're here and actually teammates now.
Now, the Gophers are currently ranked, and I kind of want to get your perspective on this. How does your team kind of maintain that consistency of being just playing well, but also winning games? And does your team feel any pressure of being ranked? And how do you guys handle the pressure of being a ranked team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's obviously going to be pressure from that. And there's pressure at any time when you're playing a college sport, I think. And I think what I've learned this year the most that I really have applied and I know my team has really taken to heart is something our coach, Natalie Darwitz, says to us very frequently. She says that you have to have an off and an on switch. So what that looks like is when you come to the rink, you turn your switch on, you focus, you're consistent, you're very present in the moment that you're in. You're ready to compete. And then when you leave the rink, you turn the switch off, you rest, you recover so that you're ready to go again the next day. And I think it's a really good analogy for just staying consistent because you can't stay consistent if you're constantly, on, like if your switch is always on. So I think the rest and just being able to rest and just come the next day and be ready to do everything again at a really high level has been really good for our team. And just with consistency, I think it's really important to have a balance.
Oh yeah, just because like with the Gophers, like your team has a target on your back, whether you like it or not, just because of the history of the program, but also because of that ranking. So it's kind of like that's kind of good advice from a former Gopher to kind of have that like on and off switch, just to only think about the hockey when you're playing hockey, and then kind of turn that off and focus on other stuff when you're not at the rink.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get burned out if you're 100% always on with hockey and just in your mind, I guess. And I think that you really have to take a balance in your life and just put an importance on being able to rest when you're away from the rink and focus on other things, but also when you show up to the rink, like you know that you're going to compete and be ready to go.
And I want to transition and talk about your off season preparing for your first year in college hockey. So, did you do anything interesting during your off season, whether it was hockey related or non-hockey related, or was it kind of just, I guess, training in hockey pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much just the usual. Yeah, I guess we all started in the gym all the freshmen, we started in the gym in June. So we got acclimated with just the off-season training that way. So we were able to work out with our trainer and do all of his lifts and conditioning and stuff this summer before we got into school and started actually doing that stuff with our team. Um, So that was really helpful, just being able to get all of that under our belts before we started school. And I think it was just really helpful training wise to be able to do all of that. But otherwise, just shooting pucks and skating and doing all of that stuff that I'm already doing. So it was a really good summer that way. But yeah, I ended up getting hurt in July. So it kind of put a different stress on my summer with training wise, and I had to kind of slow down for a little bit. But yeah, the summer was overall really good for training and off season.
Yeah, was that kind of the biggest challenge you faced this past off season was dealing with that injury, or was it kind of, did you, I don't know if Minnesota was still dealing with restrictions, just because I know the previous off season heading into your senior year of high school, gyms were closed and ice time was very limited. So how did you kind of approach the off season once the injury happened? And was it similar to the previous one where stuff was restricted, or was it kind of more open?
Yeah, Minnesota was more open this summer. I would say heading into my senior year, everything was just really restricted, and I know during the pandemic, I didn't skate for a few months at least, just because there was no ice rinks open. And I think going into my freshman year, everything was definitely more open, which is a bummer because I was so excited to obviously start training again and use all the facilities that are available. But that was probably the biggest challenge of just, yeah, dealing with an injury, um, right, like before I'm going into college. I think it was just a big bummer. And I kind of had to decide what like the rest of the season was going to look like for myself, and um, surgery or not surgery, or playing versus not playing. I think that was a big thing. So yeah, I ended up having to make some decisions, and I'm happy with the actions I took leading forward into my freshman year. But yeah, I was definitely just dealing with kind of the uncertainty of that, and then also just doing everything I could do to get ready for college in the best way possible. So,
Now, how have you learned to balance both school and hockey, being a student athlete? Because that's something that not a lot of student athletes, I think, talk about, but it's obviously a big part of your life.
yeah, it's definitely something that not a lot of people talk about going into college, just how much more of a commitment hockey is in your life. Um, sorry. Yeah, school, I think, obviously takes up so much time during the day, and then homework at night, and then hockey's just been a really good breakup of the day, and it's something that I look forward to every day. Just kind of takes the stress off in a different way, and I think it's just I love going to the rink every day. I love my team, so just being able to show up to a really good culture every day has just been awesome for the balance for me. I just really enjoy going every day, and I love being with my team. So it's been fun to go from school to practice and just kind of break up my day that way and then go back to school. But the balance is definitely a lot about time management. You have to be really strict with your time and where your priorities are.
Yeah, that's something I've had to learn being in college this year is just time management. It's so much different than high school just because I don't know, I feel like in high school you could like find ways to get stuff done, but in college, like if you don't find time to get it done, then it's a little more difficult to get it done, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think you just have to prioritize your main goals and kind of just move your time and your time management around that. So if you have a high priority on school and hockey, those are the things you're going to get done. And you just have to kind of find what works best for you and planning. So,
hmm Now, I kind of want to transition and talk about the beginning of your hockey career and kind of work all the way up to where you are now with the Gophers. So, you're from Minnetonka, Minnesota. Just talk about growing up there and how did you start playing hockey?
my family is a really big hockey family. So, I have 6 kids in my family. My older brother and my older sister both played, and my dad played college hockey. So, growing up, I was like immediately put on skates, and I think I started skating on the lake when I was probably around 3, and then obviously went into youth hockey and played with the boys for a few years, and then moved over to girls hockey. But it was always just a really big part of my childhood, and I kind of just grew up doing it. So yeah.
That's awesome. Does your dad ever talk about his college hockey experience with you guys?
Yeah, he does. I think it's a special thing having a parent who's kind of been there, done that a little bit with college hockey. And he's just been super helpful and encouraging in that way. He understands what it's like to be a D1 athlete and just the mental challenges, the physical challenges, and just dealing with all the stuff that comes with it. So he's been a good resource for me. But yeah, growing up in Minnetonka was super fun, and it's just a great program. So
You also must have helped with the recruiting process as well, just because that's also a very stressful time for the young athletes as well. So that must have been nice to kind of have that resource in the house as well.
yeah, I think it was really nice. My parents just, they're great. They don't really put a lot of pressure on me to make decisions either way. And it's always just kind of been about what I want for my life. So they're a really good resource just for me. Both my parents played college sports, so they just understand just the kind of life that you lead when you're playing. And yeah, it's been really great to have them.
Now, who was your favorite player growing up? Was it someone in the NHL or was it a women's player on the national team?
My favorite player growing up was actually, I would have to say either Rachel Ramsey or Sydney Baldwin. They both played for the Gophers and they both played at Minnetonka when I was really young. So watching them grow up and play, I think was just really cool for me because I was like, wow, like these girls are so good and they're playing high school hockey, which is what I wanted to do. And they're going to play for the Gophers, which was always my dream. So I'd say those were probably my two favorite players. I don't really know if I can choose between the two, but I think it was really important for me to watch people that were in my same shoes that I wanted to be in the future.
Have you ever had the chance to meet Sydney Baldwin? Because I've had her on the podcast, super nice person. So I was just curious.
Yeah, she was in my sister's grade in high school, so she was over quite a bit, and she actually taught me. She did my first shooting lesson, so she taught me how to shoot the puck. So she is awesome. She's super nice. She's a great person.
Yeah, those Minnetonka teams, just doing research, were just probably really fun to watch growing up because obviously Sydney won the Miss Hockey Award in 2014, and then Presley Norby won it again in 2016, not too long after. So how cool is it to kind of watch those teams growing up?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, they went to the state tournament and won it back to back to back when I was in youth hockey at Minnetonka. And so growing up, looking up to that was kind of like the goal of, I want to do this too. And it was just really fun watching those teams because you just aspire to be like the girls that you watch. And they're all just really great people and they're super nice and encouraging. And with the youth program at Minnetonka, they put a lot of emphasis on the older girls being with the younger girls. So Presley Norby was like my team big sister. So she'd come to our practices and help us do homework or whatnot. So there's definitely a lot of involvement with the older girls when I was growing up in the program, which was really cool.
Now, you said you played boys hockey before you headed off playing girls hockey and youth hockey. I'm just curious, like, what was that transition like, going from boys to girls?
Well, I played when I was like really, really young. My first few years in hockey were with the boys. But I'd say the biggest transition was just the friends aspect of it. I just loved when I finally got to girls, just how fun it was because all the girls are around and you just meet all your friends and it just makes practice so much more fun, in my opinion. So yeah, going from boys to girls, obviously I played when I was really young, so there weren't that many differences yet in the games and styles of play. But I'd say just like being able to meet all my best friends when I moved to girls hockey was just a really special part of it.
Now, before college, you played for Breck School. My question is, how'd you get the opportunity to go to that school and play for them?
Yeah, I was actually planning to just continue on in Minnetonka, and I'm really good friends with the Zelman girls. We're really good family friends with them. So I've grown up playing with Emily my whole life, and I've just always been around their family. And at the time, Emily's older sisters, Anna and Grace, were going to Breck, and they wanted me to come check out the school. And so I said I would, and I ended up really loving it. So I moved over there when I was in 8th grade, and I played varsity there for the next 5 years.
And what was your experience like with Breck School? What's like the best memory you have hockey-wise, looking back on it now?
Looking back on it now, my experience was really great. I just really liked the school and I loved playing with the girls I played with while I was there. I think my favorite memory would be winning my first state championship in ninth grade. It was just a really fun year, and I'll always just remember that team because of the girls that were on it. And I think that was the most fun I had playing high school hockey was that year. So that would probably be my favorite memory, and it just was a good season with a good end of the season. So yeah.
And how did Breck like help prepare you for college hockey with the Gophers? Just because obviously Emily Zumwinkle is now one of your teammates, but also Grace played with the Gophers as well. So it seems like the school prepared you guys well for college hockey.
Yeah, it was a really good program while we were there, and definitely helped prepare us in that way. I think that what really stood out to me about the program was just the ability to play varsity at a really young age. So being able to have 5 years under my belt before I got to college of playing at that level was really just fun for me. And I think definitely helped develop my game a lot. So yeah, I mean, just being able to play at the same program for a good chunk of time before I got to college was really good and just gave me the platform I needed to keep improving my game.
Now, what's it like being a player in the Minnesota high school hockey scene and just the atmosphere experience? Just because I'm not from Minnesota, I'm from the East Coast, so it's kind of for me, it's kind of hard to understand what it's like being a Minnesota high school hockey player. Just because I've seen the clips from the state tournament at the XL Center, it looks pretty fun, but it's kind of odd just because we don't have that here in the East Coast. So I just find it cool that you get to experience that.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's seriously unlike anything that I've seen before. I know I always try to explain it to my friends that are on the East Coast, and it's just hard to explain because you really have to experience it for yourself. Um, but I think that growing up in Minnesota is just really special because you get to play against all your friends and just all your different teammates from other cities, and everyone plays for just kind of the area that they're in. So it's really fun. It's just like a big family, and you really just know people on every single team that you play, which is really cool. And I think just like even with the state tournament, that's a really cool experience too for both girls and guys, just being able to play at the XL Energy Center. And yeah, I mean, it's just a great atmosphere. It's super fun to grow up playing in Minnesota for high school hockey. And I'm really happy and fortunate that I got to be able to.
Yeah, and talk about playing at the XL Center. That must have been a fun experience being in the NHL rink. And what's it like being a fan there as well, watching the state tournament? Because I don't know if you've had the opportunity to do that. I assume you have.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to both play and be a fan at the X. Yeah, for the boys games, it's really cool because the whole rink is packed. But just even playing there is so special. Like it's so big and it's such a fun rink to play in. And it really just makes the experience of state that much more fun because you're on a big stage and it's just a cool experience that you'll never really be able to do again. And yeah, I mean, it's really awesome just to be there and be a part of it, whether you're on the ice or whether you're in the stands. It's really a special place to be for high school hockey.
I've heard that sometimes those high school hockey games sell out more than the Minnesota Wild. Is that true?
I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't heard anything
Mhm.
like that, but there's definitely a lot of people there. Tickets are always sold out for the boys' games, especially if it's going to be a really good game. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but yeah, it's pretty sold out. It's pretty packed every year. So,
Now, another thing I was doing research about from the Minnesota high school hockey perspective is the all hockey hair team. Now, one of the things I found interesting was one of your former teammates won it or was on the list for that. Just explain what that is, just because it's hard to understand for me as well.
yeah, I mean, I don't really understand it either because I mean, girls don't usually participate in it, but Carly Vienick, who was my former teammate, won it one year, and so that was really funny. She got like a few awards and random stuff sent to her from them, but you kind of just show off your hair, I guess, to the state tournament camera because I mean, when they're announcing like the starting lineups, they like go along with the camera and say like, oh, like where you're from, your name, whatever, and they do everyone on the team. So I think this one guy decides like the best 10 hairstyles of the whole tournament and then kind of narrows it down or something. But yeah, it's funny every year. There's just like the most crazy haircuts and styles. And yeah, it was really fun that my teammate got to win it one year. I thought that was pretty funny.
I heard that there was a team one year that like dyed their hair blonde just to get the award. Is that stuff like that happen constantly, I feel like?
Yeah, stuff like that happens all the time. It's just like people bleach their hair, shave it off, or get a
Mhm.
mullet, whatever it might be. So yeah, random stuff happens like that all the time with that.
Now, like you said, you got to play with one of your current teammates, Emily Zumwinkle with Breck. How cool is it to play with one of your high school teammates now in college? I just want to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's so special. Me and Emily are roommates this year. We started playing together when we were 6 years old. That was our first team, our U6 team. And we've been playing together on the same team ever since because she also grew up in Minnetonka and moved to Breck. So that's just been a really special bond. And it's just been such a cool experience in my hockey career is being able to play with her. But now playing together in college, it's something that we had always dreamed about and talked about from, I mean, being 6 years old to now. We've really been through it all together. So it's been awesome. And I'm really happy to have her by my side. And I just couldn't think of a better person to go through it all with.
Now, talk about your recruitment process to Minnesota. What was that like for yourself, and why did you choose to go to the Gophers versus other schools you might have looked at that time?
Yeah, my recruitment process was really awesome. I think that it all worked out how I really hoped it would. And I knew that the Gophers were my dream school to play for, and I'd always wanted to play for them. And it just worked out that that was my best opportunity. And I was just really fortunate to be able to commit there at a young age before the rule change. And yeah, I just had always wanted to play for the Gophers. And that ended up being something that was a possibility for me. And I knew that I wanted to do that. So it really wasn't a hard decision for me, recruitment wise.
And what's it like playing under Coach Frost? And what's he like as a coach, and what have you learned under him so far?
He's awesome. I really love him as a coach. I think that coaching was a really big decision in my recruitment process. Just being able to play for him has just been a huge blessing for me. He really just cares about the person you are as well as the player you are. So I think there's a really good balance of both of those things. Um, so yeah, he's been awesome. He wants to win. He's competitive. He's a really great person and a good guy, and just really cares about his players and his team and the team culture. So it's been really a great experience just in college to have a coach that really cares about all aspects of his players.
Now, how cool was it to put on that Gopher jersey on for the first time and kind of like play for your dream school, like and make it a reality? Just because that must have been a really cool moment for yourself. You know, you've dreamed about going to Minnesota most of your life, and now finally putting on that jersey for the first time and stepping on the ice. I guess what emotions were you feeling when that happened?
Yeah, it was very surreal. I will always remember that moment. I think just as long as I mean, as it was just really special. I just like looking at your jersey before the game, and you're like, oh wow, this jersey has my last name on it. Like it's got the M on it. This is like my dreams actually here. It's coming true. It was a lot of emotions. I think that it was just a really good memory. And for me, it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, I can't take anything for granted now. And it's just a good reminder that time flies really fast, and you just don't want to take any moments for granted, and you want to appreciate everything you have. So,
Now, what have you taken away from your college hockey experience so far with the Gophers, even though it got cut short your freshman year?
um, the main lesson that I'll probably take away that I've taken away so far is just consistency. I think that the main thing too is just you have to love getting better and love competing, and um, I do. So it's been really a fun time so far, and just the main thing is that you have to compete at a high level every day, and you have to be consistent with your mindset, and that will get you pretty far.
Now, you were talking about how you have six siblings or five siblings. So my question is, just doing research on yourself, you have a younger sister, Ava, who's currently committed to play with the Gophers. What was it? I guess what's it like growing up with someone who also kind of has the same dreams and aspirations as yourself? And I guess just talk about your hockey experience with your younger sister, just because that must have been cool to commit to the same school.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that is something we both dreamed about. Ava's only, a little more than a year younger than me. So growing up, we were on all the same teams together. And then in high school, we played for 4 years together at Breck, and we're on the same line and you have to play together. So yeah, just her committing to the U and it working out for both of us to go there was really something that we both dreamt about, prayed about. So yeah, I'm really excited to have her there. This is the first year that I haven't been with her, so it's definitely weird, but she's really excited to come to the U as well, and I'm excited to have her there. So
Yeah, did you miss? I think like when you stepped down in practice for your first time, you must have missed having her on the ice with you since you've been playing with her throughout most of your career.
yeah, having a sister on the team is just very different, and I think that having that one person on the team that is your family, that you can always go to with stuff is really cool. We've always been best friends, and we've always just been a really good support system for each other. So it's definitely different this year having to not be with that every day. I'm definitely missing a lot, just having her around, but I know she'll be at the U soon. So I'm just going to enjoy the time that I have right now.
Hmm. And obviously, she was announced to make the USA roster for the U18 World Championships. Now, obviously, unfortunately, that got canceled, but hopefully it gets rescheduled. But how excited were you to see her name on that roster?
So excited. I mean, I've been through the whole process, like she's gone through a few times before COVID hit. And it's just a really long process that not a lot of people talk about. And I mean, you give up a lot. You go to camps all summer, you train really hard. And she really sacrificed the summer to be able to be on that team. And she just trained so hard and worked so hard for it. So she's really bummed out about the whole tournament being canceled. But I'm really just proud of her for the work that she put in and the positive attitude she's had throughout the whole thing. And I think it's just a really big accomplishment to be able to be on that team. And it's just a really big honor to represent your country like that.
Yeah, and I guess, what was your reaction to it being canceled?
I mean, it's a big bummer. It's a disappointment because I've been in those shoes before. I've had, I mean, similar disappointment. And it's hard because um, there's not really much you can do. And like I said before, you got to control the controllables. I think that there's not much you can do. But it's a really big disappointment for that tournament to be canceled because it means so much to so many young women. And I think it's just a bummer for the girls' game as well. Is just you want little girls to be able to watch the tournament for themselves and look up to those players. And so it's a bummer that it's being canceled this year.
So I want to segue to a segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. So my first non-hockey question to you is, what is the most interesting thing you've seen or read this week?
Oh gosh. I gotta say, most interesting thing I've seen. Oh boy. I'm reading a book right now about just having a good mindset and not letting yourself spiral into toxic thinking or just negative thoughts. So I'd say that's probably the most interesting thing I've read. I just bought it at Target, so it's been good so far, but it's mostly just about taking control of your mindset and just being able to live a disciplined lifestyle and being able to kind of just be disciplined in your thought process, I guess, which is really important. So
Yeah, what's like some strategies the book has, just because I think I might need some.
oh gosh, well, I just started it, so
Uh,
I don't really have any strategies so far, but it's mostly just about like stopping, like kind of once you start negative thinking, just like about how to stop that train from sort of like progressing, I guess.
oh yeah, no, that's something I definitely need to work on at times. Like I said, with this, I feel like the world's unpredictable right now, so you gotta have to kind of take a step back from things and just kind of just enjoy life for what it is, I guess.
Yeah, you're definitely right. The world is very unpredictable right now. I think that everybody can work on that. And I mean, there's always room to improve with just like being confident, being positive, just having a good mindset, I think there's always room for improvement there.
I think the most interesting thing, and I guess thing I've read this past week was I read about John Wilkes Booth, like his escape after he assassinated Abraham Lincoln, and I didn't know anything about it, but it's a really interesting story and just like what he did for 12 days before he got caught. I'm surprised they
Yeah.
actually haven't made a movie about it. I just thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I was actually obsessed with Abraham Lincoln when I was little. I have no idea why, but I knew all the facts when I was growing up, and my mom said that I just would not shut up about Abraham Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth. So I do know that whole story. It's a very cool story. So I would not be surprised if they came out with a movie soon about that, because I mean it would be a pretty good movie to watch.
Oh yeah, just because like he hid in so many different places, but just the end of just like the thing I was reading when he was in the barn and just how they lit it on fire, I just thought it was like it was just crazy to
Yeah.
read about. I just never knew about it, to be honest with you. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's just like that seems like it's come straight from a movie. So I'm
Mhm.
surprised they haven't made one yet about that.
Well, they
But
made
I'll
a
get
book
one.
about it, which I bought, which I'm gonna read soon.
Oh,
Apparently, it's a
really?
really good book. It's called Manhunt. It's about the whole story.
Oh.
So I'm interested to read that. But yeah, they should make a movie about it, or at least a documentary, I think.
I might have to read that before I go back to school. I have some free time right now, so
Hmm.
I picked that up.
I've heard it's a good book. I haven't read it myself, but I definitely gotta get into that just because it's winter break, so have something to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what music do you like to listen to? Are you kind of a country fan, pop fan, hip hop fan? Like, what's your go-to genre?
Oh gosh. I would say I kind of like a lot of different genres. I definitely do a lot of hip hop, pop, kind of when I'm like at the rink getting ready for games, practices, whatever it is. But I definitely like more chill music when I'm away from the rink or working out or whatever it may be. So yeah, I like country a lot. I like country in the summer. Um, Old music, I like oldies. So I like kind of everything.
Nice. What's your like go-to artist, I guess? Like before a game or just like do you have like a go-to country artist when you're just like driving in those back roads in the summertime?
I like Morgan Wallen for back
Oh,
rows in the summertime. Or gosh. Yeah, I'd say Morgan Wallen I like a lot for country. And then I have so many different songs for games. I don't even know the
yeah.
artists of all of them, but just whatever is new and prevalent and it gets me ready to go, I guess I like listening to. So
Yeah, Morgan Wallen's new album was absolutely fire. It was some great songs. I loved This Side of a Dust Cloud. I don't know if you heard about that one. That's a really good song. And then This Bar, that was another good song I liked from that album.
yeah, this bar, I really like that song. I listened to that. I think that's on like my most listened to country song of the year.
Oh wow.
So Spotify comes out with the whole thing that they like show your favorite artist of the year and how many times you've streamed like all the songs or whatever. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna be on there, but we'll see.
Yeah, for mine it was weird because it's like so like it was like Juice World, Travis Scott, and then it was like the Beatles. So it was like so many like my music taste is so out of
Yeah,
the blue. It was like five like random artists like you that no one would like listen to like on a
yeah,
day.
mine is yeah, so weird. I've got old like bands on there like the Beatles or whatever it may be. And then I've got like Cardi B on there, so I don't really know. It really just depends on the mood and the day, I think. So
Yeah. Well, I have a playlist for like each genre of music. So whenever I'm into that day, I would just go to that playlist. So I don't have to like worry about
yeah.
like having a playlist of like full of different songs.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't really listen to the same style of music for too long at a time, so I kind of have a playlist for everything.
Hmm. It's like a week thing. Like one week I'm into country, next week I'm into hip hop. It's always changing for me.
Yeah, mine kind of just changes all the time. So I just make playlists for myself that hopefully have every genre that I want, and then I just kind of pick when I get in the car. So
I do the same thing. So I think that's the way to do it. I don't understand like how
yeah,
someone can like not listen to or only listen to one specific genre. I think that's weird.
yeah, I know. I don't really understand when people say they hate country. I'm like, well, it's just a good like chill
Hmm.
type of music to listen to, and it just goes so well in the summers. So I don't know. I don't really understand that either, but to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, well, for me, like I wasn't really into country, but I worked for a baseball team this past summer, and a lot of the guys are from California and like down south, and that's country music's huge in those places. So it was really cool to kind of get introduced to country music that way. And yeah, I agree, it's very good. We were big Darius Rucker fans. That was our go-to artist.
Yeah.
He has some good
Yeah,
songs.
he's good too. That's super fun. Yeah, he's great.
Now, what is your biggest pet peeve? I feel like nothing bothers you. Or at least you try to make nothing bother you. But if there is, what is it?
Oh gosh. I would say I'm a very efficient person and I really like to get stuff done at a quick pace. So I would say like my pet peeve has got to be like slow drivers,
Mhm.
or just like slow walkers. I think when I'm trying to get somewhere, that is always something that gets on my nerves. But I don't have road rage. I try not to honk at anyone because I understand that there's old people on the road, there's young drivers on the road. So I don't really honk or do anything like that. But I would say it definitely annoys me when I'm stuck behind a slow car.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of similar. It's traffic. I don't know what if it's different in Minnesota, but in the East Coast, the traffic this year has been brutally bad. Like it's just every day you got to deal with it. But also just dealing with cars that don't make the best decisions. That's the way I'm going to put it. Where they like cut you off or do that stuff. Like I don't know if it's like an East Coast
Yeah.
thing or not, but no, that really bothers me as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Minnesota traffic was actually really bad this summer because I was kind of commuting to the U every day for school and then training and lifting and stuff. Um, so I was always coming back at 3 p.m. every day, which is when the traffic started to get really bad. So I'd always spend like an hour every day in traffic, which I just learned to live with. I just started listening to podcasts and music to pass the time. So, I mean, you might as well have fun driving if you're going to be driving for a long time. So,
Oh yeah, well hopefully this podcast will pop into one of your traffic holes.
yeah, no,
Drive back
I'll
and
have to
forth.
be tuning in.
Now, but no, I think yeah, no traffic. And for me, it just makes no sense because there's certain days where I take like early morning classes. So when I drive back to my house, I don't have to like try not to be stuck in traffic. But like even at 11 a.m., there's like still traffic, and it doesn't make sense to me. So
No, it always like happens at the worst time too, when I'm already like annoyed with something. I get stuck in traffic, so I understand. It's just one of those things.
what's the worst traffic you've been stuck in? I was stuck in 2.5 hour traffic one time. So I'm curious if there's anything that you've been in that's topped that.
Gosh, well, I've been stuck in. I think the worst time I've been stuck in traffic was actually on the East Coast, and I was trying to catch a flight in, I want to say New Jersey, and I was driving. I don't remember where I was driving from, but it's probably like a 2 hour drive. And it was one of those rainstorms. It was in the fall. And apparently you guys get really bad rainstorms out there. I don't really know if that's a thing, but it was just we were stuck in a really bad storm and it took us like 5 hours to get to the airport and we were just stuck in traffic the whole way and we ended up missing our flight. So I think that still goes down as the worst traffic I've been in. So I nothing in Minnesota has matched that yet. So definitely on the East Coast has been the worst traffic.
Yeah, well, that's in to top it off, you missed your flight, so that makes you even more
Yeah.
mad about it.
Yeah, seriously.
Now, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Oh my gosh. Um, gosh. I would say a really cool actor is Oh, I like Rachel McAdams. I think she's a cool actor. I don't really know if she doesn't really look like me at all, but I think she'd be able to play a role of myself. She can play like any role. She can do The Notebook or Mean Girls or About Time or anything. She can kind of do any role. So she's a talented actor. I think she might be my favorite one. So I'd like her to play myself in a movie.
Yeah, I think I've never seen like a ton of Rachel McAdams movies, but I've heard she's like one of the best actresses ever, so I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, she's very versatile. So I think she'd be able to do a movie about me.
Yeah, for me, it would probably be Tom Holland, maybe just because I saw Spider-Man the other day,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he looks somewhat like me. Like, there's not many actors out there that look like me, but I feel like he would be the one that pull it off the best. So, but we are the same height, so that's what might be one reason as well.
That might be it. Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie?
I did. It was very good.
I haven't been able to see it yet, so do you recommend going?
I do recommend going. I won't spoil it for you, but it's very
Okay.
good. So a lot of
Okay.
surprises. That's the best way I'll put it.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll have to go see it.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. So I don't really watch too many movies, but I did go to see that one in theaters just because I had some time off. So I was like, might as well go see it.
Yeah, I don't really watch any movies anymore. I feel like since I've gotten to college, it's just been so hectic and I've just been so busy that I haven't really had time for any movies lately. But
Well, for me, I just watch sports all the time, more than movies. Like, I'd much rather watch a Bruins game over like a movie on TV. And then I like watching college hockey, and then baseball season comes, so I like watching baseball. So usually when I have free time, I usually watch sports, not movies. But for certain things, I will watch movies occasionally. Like what's been going on now, since there hasn't been too much hockey with NHL being kind of shut down and then college hockey not playing, that this has been like a big movie time for me.
yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think there's just always sports or movies on TV, so you kind of have to just pick and choose what you want to watch.
Now, I want to ask you about some of your teammates. Who's the funniest teammate you have with the Gophers?
Mm, I'd say Kristen Hangler. She's awesome. She's super funny. I'm always laughing.
I saw that video she did with the Wild. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a cool experience. I think a few of my teammates got to go out and watch her. Some of them were already home for break, and I was obviously home for surgery, so I didn't get to go, but it looked really fun, and she did awesome. So,
Yeah, and it was cool seeing how her interacting with some of the Wild players. I thought that was pretty. Like when Matt Dumba asked her, like, "Who do you model your game after?" She's like Eric Carlson, and he's just thought that was awesome. Like that was a cool part of the video.
yeah, that was really fun. I'm glad that they made a video about it, so like the people that weren't able to be there were able to watch it.
Yeah, and she was just as good as those Wild players. So I'm just saying, like, maybe a contract for her after college is over.
Maybe they'll
Hall
have
of
to
Fame.
have to get a contract for her.
Now, you obviously have the best style on the team, but besides yourself, who has the best style on the Gophers?
Gosh, it's got to be Emily Oden. I love her style. She gives me good style tips. So I'd say her style's the best. She's always looking great with her style. So I try to model mine after hers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options from your team, especially since I saw the Nashville trip, the pre-games
Mm.
outfits. Those
Yeah.
look pretty fire, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we all got the cowboy hats on. So we were rocking those that weekend.
Now, back to some hockey questions. Now, I guess we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what should be done to help grow women's hockey, in your opinion, just from your perspective, since you've been involved with the game for a long time?
I think just support from just like the organizations is a really big thing. And also just like visibility and making it available for younger girls to watch will definitely help the game. I think girls are more likely to start something and to do something that they see is accessible and easy for them to start and be able to do. And I think if there's a kind of attitude around hockey that anyone can do it and all are welcome to join, it would really help grow the game. So,
Now, what should be done, I guess, or what advice would you give a younger hockey player who's trying to pursue college hockey scholarship or just trying to become a better hockey player in high school?
something that my mom always tells to me is you have to be process focused and outcome aware. So, I've really applied that to my entire hockey career so far of just being process focused and not focusing too much on the eventual outcomes, but just more focusing on the work that you put in every day. I think that if you show up every day, if you have a smile on your face, if you're willing to do what it takes to get better every single day, then you're going to end up in the place that you want to be in. And it's good to make goals and it's good to have those underlying goals on your mind so you know what you're working for. But I think it's really just important to focus on the process of getting yourself there and just stay really consistent day in and day out with how you go about working hard for that.
And I think that's a good kind of way to end off the interview. But before we do you have any shout outs you'd like to give to any of your teammates,
Oh
former
my
teammates, family members, anyone who you think might be listening to this? Feel free to shout them out now.
I'll probably shout out Emily Zominkel and my sister Ava Lindsay. Those two have been my favorite. They've been my best friends since, we've started skating. So those are my two shout outs for the day.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Sadie. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to myself. I wish you all the best for your recovery process, and I can't wait to watch you come back on the ice and play for your sophomore year. I know you're going to do great. So take care, stay safe, and enjoy the new year as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Now, one